Be present with us, Lord Christ, this night and always. Amen. In Europe, after the Second World War, there were thousands of children without homes and families, children who were hungry and in need of care, and they were gathered into refugee camps and schools and facilities where they might begin to be looked after and cared for. And in those places they were supported and fed and beginning to have some stability in their lives after unimaginable loss and separation, after disorientation, after having their whole worlds turned upside down. They settled in to places where there was food and a roof over their heads and people who could be with them. And even as they settled in, the children had a tremendously hard time sleeping. They were fine during the day, eating and playing and learning, but nighttime was difficult until someone who understood a lot about the way human beings work had an idea. Each night in this particular camp, the children were given a piece of bread to hold as they went to bed. This was not food to eat. If they were hungry, they could have more food. This was bread to hold and to keep through the night. And with that simple gift of bedtime bread, the children began to be able to relax and rest and sleep. Even in the face of the horrible absence in their lives, that bread was enough to bring them calm and reassurance and presence and peace. Jesus anticipates the agonizing, piercing absence which is about to come to his friends and his disciples. He is on his way to the cross. Soon they will not see him, and he will have died, and with him all of the things that they believed and hoped for, the one whom they had followed and trusted. And in the hours before that absence, Jesus gives to his disciples gifts of presence. The first is the example and the commandment to love one another, to serve, to do the acts of love which reveal the depth of Christ's love for us. Jesus, in the midst of the shadows of betrayal and denial, loves each of those disciples and loves them to the end, and passes along not only the gift but the command to hold and keep and express and give that love as he has given it to them. Second, Jesus gives the gift of bread and wine as a sign of his presence, as a way for those gathered at that table to begin to understand what it is that is about to happen, as a way for them to look back and know what Jesus meant when he talked about bread broken and body and blood poured out. He gives them that remembrance of his great love and of the expression of that love in his death and passion. It's a gift which they held, which they remembered, which they continued to celebrate, and which has been handed on to us generation after generation after generation, to those of us who still seek to follow and to know Jesus. Jesus made space for the absence which was about to come, and into that space left these powerful signs of his presence for those who would lose him. We live in a time of absence and separation. More so than usual, we are aware of what is not there. All through life, there are moments when we feel that absence of God, the absence of community, the absence of people. And Jesus has given us the gifts to be reminded and restored and reassured by his presence. We see love enacted around us by those who do not keep a distance, by those who are not absent but very present, by those whose way of washing feet is washing and caring for those who are sick or dying or have died, or also those who are wiping grocery cart handles and wiping off shelves and making sure that places are as clean as they can be. Those acts of service and love remind us of that gift and that command of Jesus to love one another, to gird on towels and wash one another's feet with that humility and care. We also have the gift of this sacred and holy meal, this sacrament of bread and wine. Christ is present as we break bread, as we pour wine, and as we receive spiritually within us that gift of Christ's presence. The sacrament of this night is a way of remembering, of recalling, of calling Jesus again into the midst of us when we wonder where Jesus might be, of finding the presence of God in things very tangible and very real. In this season of absence, we long for the time when everyone again may share this bread and this cup. In the meantime, the presence of Christ continues to be with us. And so when we are most aware of absence, as we walk these next hours of the life of Jesus, as we walk these next hours and days and months of our lives together, may we hold that bread of Christ's presence. May we also know peace and hope. Amen.